regular monthly board meetings of the Rockcastle County Board of Education. It's always good to see all your faces every month. And first thing, I'll call this meeting to order, and we will have a moment of silent prayer. Item 1B is the roll call. May the minutes reflect that all board members are present. Miss Lisa is here, I believe, via Zoom. Lisa, can you hear us?
She could a while ago.
Okay. We can see her, but I don't know if she can hear us. Can you hear us, Miss Lisa?
Are we muted? We're muted.
Yeah,
We're muted on that screen, but not on this. Okay. Miss Lisa, can you hear us? She's froze.
She's not responding. I'll text her and see. Okay.
I think she.
Item 1C is the reading of board team commitments.
I've got it, Angie.
You got it, Matt? Would you mind to read that for us, please?
To improve our effectiveness, the board team for Rockcastle County Schools commits to review processes and experiences to identify and direct improvements, continuously define and work toward long-term goals which serve all students of the district, make each decision based on facts and the best for all students, listen to each other and speak freely, work together, support each other and not surprise one another, discuss board deliberations to point a mutually agreeable resolution based on factual information, support the majority's decision projecting board unity toward shared goals for continuously improving district-wide student learning, operate without personal or political agendas, respect one another, agree to disagree respectfully, delegate implementation to superintendent and education team, and to respectfully remind each other of these commitments.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 2 is adopt the agenda. Dr. Ballinger has not informed me of any changes that we need to make, so I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3 is our school and community showcase section, and we are going to have an update on our RCMS project.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Evening.
I know that you all anticipated me being here tonight, and I appreciate you not making me go up against some extremely impressive students, because I promise I'm not that impressive. So we have got an update here of the school. Go through some pictures of what we have. Excited to show quite a bit of, and as of today, pretty much all of the exterior sidewalks have been completed. They're not included in these pictures, but that last section you'll see here in a minute has been completed as of today, bringing everything up. So we can go on to the next slide. Oh, and I'm sorry, if you'll go back more. They've started paving all that lot area, and that will be completed by tomorrow. As far as base, and they'll get the temporary striping on there, so then everybody will be parking in that area and it'll be called out. Next slide. The steel continuing to go up, and then they're working on the remainder of the masonry walls coming out to cut the rest of that new section off and then close in that addition. And as we go through this, it'll kind of be just walking through the building and on out. Next slide. Out into the courtyard area, they're cutting the road out, and they've made a pretty good chunk of progress on that as of this evening. I was watching them; they were continuing to push it out. They've cut on out to the other side now, so they're working through that. Temporarily, there's a sidewalk that comes down, going out away towards me. That sidewalk is going to be installed just for egress purposes during the construction. The egress of the kitchen cafeteria emergency egress would be down through there and then be funneled out through that. So that sidewalk will be installed, and then they're going to be continuing to work on the rest of the concrete in that area. All of that area is actually poured concrete, so that'll take a little bit of time just to get everything put in. Next slide. Down on through the corridors, this is the second floor of the new school addition. So all those locker areas, the soffits have been installed, and they're continuing they've done a pretty major effort of just general cleanup and throughout the entire building, but they're continuing all the overhead rough in and working through all of that. Next Next slide. That is the future press box area. Looking out over the field, we do have a set of temporary stairs in there for access to that for the upcoming games. There's looking out onto the field. And that track turned out pretty good. Go ahead. Again, second floor. This is looking down the main hallway. That would, if you, the courtyard, you see that little patch of green, the courtyard's over off onto the left-hand side. That hallway goes straight back to the other side of the building, to the main classroom area, first and second level. Next slide. That would be the cafeteria. All the flooring is in that area. Just really, that chunk of area anyway, really just lacks fire alarm and getting remaining devices installed and a good cleaning. Those things will be taking place over the next few days here in order to get everything prepared. But they've got all the flooring installed, and I'm really pleased with the way the lighting and the ceiling turned out in that area. And also, I'm, to be honest with you, I am exceptionally impressed with how well the renovated portion, you can see that strip of floor covering going back to that other ladder back there. That is actually one of the old renovated areas with the kind of low ceilings. I am exceptionally impressed with how well those turned out, even with the ceilings down lower. You walk in there and it really does not feel like that ceiling is that low. So that actually turned out really well. New spaces in the right off the cafeteria area, and then the kitchen. They're continuing to work on getting that area cleaned up. The MEP trades, plumbers, HVAC guys, those guys are about, plumbers and HVAC are about tied up in the kitchen for the most part. And then they're waiting on the kitchen guys to come in, finalize their stuff to make all their remaining finished connections. Electricians are right there behind them. They're dropping not ceiling tile, they're dropping lights all throughout the kitchen, fire alarm devices, all of those sorts of things. And then the ceiling tile should be following immediately behind that, and get the kitchen 100% wrapped up here for the start of school. And that is that other area. They've got some doors staged right there right now, but I cannot express to you all how much I am impressed with that space. Being a renovated space, when we were tearing everything out of that, I just kept thinking the ceiling's going to be awful low, but it does not feel like that at all. It really turned out amazing. I was really impressed with it. And there's another shot of the cafeteria. Gym, they've got the fans in. The gym has been cleaned out. The new walls are painted, and they've got all the new HVAC ductwork installed. Everything's running in there, and that space is working out well. In the mechanical room, they've got all the chiller piping, all the chillers on, water's to it, everything is running, and they're continuing to work on it in that space for everything else that's going forward, feeding in the future. It is a good thing that we had that much room in the back of that stage for all the mechanical equipment that went in there. You're good. And then, as I mentioned, so when this picture was taken, they were finishing up that portion of sidewalk, that pour. They actually poured the rest of that, everything on both sides of that. They poured that today. So that is completed. And that's looking out from the field up at the new addition, first and second level. That is a really, it turned out really well. Super pleased with it. Hope you all are also. I saw some kids sitting, I was walking the job earlier today, and there were some kids sitting up there watching. I guess they were keeping themselves occupied while brother or sister or brother was practicing or whatever, but it was just kind of, it was really neat to see them using that space. Go ahead. I'm excited for y'all to have your home games here. I hope they turn out good. And then that's, again, just that, space right off the back of that. Down in the lower level, rough ends are quite a bit further along. They have not, finished up doing hanging all the drywall in those areas, but they kind of got out of the way of the painter. The painter was go ahead and block fill in all the locations that they were available. So they've block filled and first coated, and they're continuing to paint everywhere they can, working throughout the building. And then there's the start of the paving today. Again, they made a pretty good go with that today, and they will finish the rest of that up certainly tomorrow. I believe that's it.
Stephen, we're gonna have a special call board meeting of probably in about the next 2 weeks. So we'd like to schedule at that time for the board to go over. We wanted to go tonight, but the paving and all of that was not really
Yes.
conducive for a visit. So
Absolutely.
we'll coordinate with you so they can take a walk through in the next meeting.
Absolutely.
It looks great. It looks wonderful. But I have to ask, because I've had so many people ask me, we're gonna be ready?
Yes, and
I
from
mean,
what we have,
when I look at your cafeteria, it overwhelms me to think how much work is still probably, but it probably just looks that way.
no,
You all,
yes,
it's very simple, yeah.
yes, no, the cafeteria is pretty well, I mean, it's tied up for the most part. It just needs to be, like I said, it needs to be cleaned. The kitchen overwhelms me, but yeah, there's quite a bit of work to be done in the kitchen, but we're staying on top of everybody, and Daryl has been heavily coordinating and planning all of that. Everybody is fully well aware of what has to be taking place, and everybody has been committed to working to getting that done. We don't have any questions about the kitchen, the cafeteria, and those are the spaces that we previously discussed. That's all gonna be tied up and ready to go. And then we've also been working with the building inspector to make sure there's no issues with egress. Everything's planned and coordinated and accommodated for to make sure that there's multiple paths of egress, and that all the necessary paths of egress are made right for the students to be able to occupy space.
And all that new kitchen equipment, has it been tested at all?
Not yet.
It is
Okay.
not yet, but a lot of that's
That
gonna be,
makes you nervous too, I know.
Yeah.
a lot of that will be taking place as soon as the kitchen people come back out. They're gonna be starting everything up and getting everything running. By and large, for the most part, brand new kitchen equipment, the most issues that we ever have are, it's not a switch, but for lack of a better term, the switch not working on a particular burner, shorts or something like that. And typically that is something that they come out and service. They have a service tech with them when they do the startup anyway. And typically that is something that they can accommodate and fix right then. For the most part, again, I've not run into any major issues with that. Most recently, I had one that, kitchen startup, same all brand new equipment, and the issue was one burner was shorting out when you trip the switch. They fixed it right then. It was not a big deal. But the biggest thing would be making sure that the hood is smoking out and all that works properly. They're supposed to be coming back out here late this week. The kitchen suppliers are supposed to be coming back out here late this week, and then they'll be servicing the equipment and making sure that everything starts up. The hood will be the following week. That's the only thing that I have, not necessarily concerns about. I just want to make sure that everything works the first time on that stuff. But yes.
Looks great.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
You go. Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you all.
All right, item 4 on our agenda tonight is operations and actions. I went through and read all of these. I didn't see anything that surprised me. Do you all have any questions for Dr. Ballinger?
Pretty standard this time of year thing. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Look, remind me one time, I know the option 6 teacher, I know there's a 9 and a 6.
Yes, option 6 is a teacher that already has a bachelor's degree in some area other than education.
Sure.
So then they're going back to school to get that. So,
And they have a set time to have that, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Need a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Item 5 is a discussion and action part of our agenda. A is review and approve the monthly financial reports. Ms. Jenny?
On our financial reports for July, you'll note that revenues of 7.3 million, that's a little bit deceiving, so I wanted to point that out. In July, we have to roll over our fiscal year 26 ending balance to our beginning balance. So our beginning balance was 5.7, and then our revenues received during the month, 1.6 million. And our expenditures, 1.4 million. Another note that I had to point out to you on building fund and debt service payments, we have paid $859,378 in bond payments, and that is reflected on your report, and that is a transfer of funds from building fund to debt service.
Jenny, am I correct that we made our last broadhead payment?
Paid off. We need to have a party. Marcus, you can pay for the cupcakes.
Do you have any questions on our reports?
The Fund 1 balance seems lower than it normally would in August. Is that just because of that triple payment in July and all that?
Triple payment in July, so you'll see that recover pretty quickly.
Thank you, Ms. Jenny. Need a motion to approve our monthly financial report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Item 5B, review and approve the KSBA policy and procedure updates for the 26-27 school year, and that this is the second reading.
Yes, so there's been no modification since our first reading. We just need to approve those. It does take 2 readings, and then we submit those back to KSBA, and they get them on our website and get them ready for us for the upcoming year.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 5C, review and approve the job description for a substitute alternative route driver, non-CDL. So Mr. Hopkins,
Yeah, he's here.
back
He's
there
in the corner.
So this is kind of a real vague description, or a real broad, not vague, but real broad description of a position that we could use in several different ways. But the intent for this is to take care of our KSD driver. We have a driver that drives to KSD every day in a car to transport a student. And that individual obviously has a lot more responsibilities than what a substitute bus monitor would have. And that's what we've paid this individual as in the past. And this is just kind of to update that, take care of her, and to show that the salary equals the responsibilities that she has, along with additional trainings that's now being required. So that's what that is.
We had some updates in the last legislative session that's requiring us to do a lot of different trainings for anyone that will be driving a car with students. So that would include any of us, any of our Family Resource Center directors. If you're driving one of the district cars, there's now quite a few requirements that we have to go through, including drug testing, a physical, 3-hour update training, background checks, lots of different parameters now that we have to go through.
For your personal vehicle or?
No, for one of the district cars,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
Do we have a policy in place that we transport students in our personal vehicle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it aligns itself pretty much.
Yes, we've
the
been
same
working
thing.
with our insurance company directly to work through those.
I think this is a great thing, Ken.
It is. It's probably overdue.
Yes, I think this is a great thing. Anyone have any questions? Motion to approve?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yep.
Item 5D, review and approve the fiscal year 2027 salary schedule.
So there's 2 things on here I want to highlight. The first being what we just talked about, the substitute alternative route driver. It is non-CDL, so it is not, that position is a little bit less paid than a bus driver that would have their CDL. So that is the position that Kim just spoke to you about. And the other thing is that we have added a middle school golf coach. Traditionally, we have had middle schoolers are tracking up for high school for golf. but we've had some changes in what is allowed, and so we need to designate a golf coach at the middle school level. So we needed to add that.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Item 5E, review and approve the cybersecurity health check. Mr. Reynolds?
So every year we have to talk about cybersecurity. This is just what this is. I'll just talk a little bit. You guys know we have cybersecurity insurance. We do that. We do have we've had in the last year some major changes that are just now happening. Some of them today, some of them tomorrow. But every student, when we go back to school, every student will log in with their password like they normally do. But they'll have two-factor authentication. So you think about two-factor authentication like a text message on your phone or like an authenticator app. Students won't have that. They'll have that. They'll have a pictograph. So they'll choose 3 pictures out of like, I'm gonna say out of like 28. They can choose which ones. They'll have to choose those pictures. K through 3 can use a badge and then choose their pictures. 4 through 12 will type in a password and then choose their pictures. So that's two-factor. It means our student accounts are secure. Additionally to that, the state has required us to do this, but Munis is now our source of truth for staff. So I don't necessarily just create accounts anymore. Accounts are created when they're entered into Munis. That means if they're being paid, they have an account. If they're not being paid, it's more complicated. Sometimes they could have an account, but they won't always have an account. So once Janellis, I guess, imports them into Munis, that account will be created. That account gives them not automatically access to Infinite Campus, but that's how they have Infinite Campus. Ms. Courtney Boring would set that up. But they'll have Infinite Campus, they'll have a Microsoft account, they'll have a Google account, they'll have, based on the Infinite Campus settings, then they'll have an iReady account based on their classroom roster, so all that just kind of flows down. But that workflow now starts at Munis. It is our source of truth for staff. So that's part of this, right? If they have a Munis account, then they have their account. Same thing for students on the IC side. When a student's enrolled into IC, that becomes our source of truth for IC, and then it flows down. And again, two-factor authentication for every staff member. Staff members will have to use two-factor authentication starting tomorrow, every 8 hours. So when Jimmy Sweet when she works from 7:30 in the morning until 10 at night, at some point she'll have to relog into Munis because her 8-hour limit is now switched, so she'll have to log in again. That's going to happen for that 8-hour limit is that requirement. So every time they log in, they'll have to do that. Every time a teacher logs into a panel, they'll have to do that. Once they log on one time, it will log them on to Infinite Campus because it's the same account. It will log on then to Clever, any other instructional program that we use. It will kind of flow through, but that two-factor is required on that first log. So that's something we do to be more secure. If teachers forget their cell phone at home, it'll be hard for them to log on.
So I was gonna ask you, how is it a push or something?
It's like a push.
Duo or something?
Yeah, there's an authenticator app and a text message, so they can reset their password with a text message. We can always get them in, but if they forget their phone at home, they'll have to call. It'll be a lot harder. So
Brandon, I mean, I'm in favor of this totally, but I know at the high school, there's some places that don't have good cell service.
Roundstone is not great cell service.
How is that?
The authenticator app generates a random code. They don't have to have the internet for the code to work on the app. To get a text message, sometimes you do. Normally you can do like I used to do and hold the phone. It's a lot of fun. But the authenticator app doesn't require that. As long as they're on Wi-Fi, and of course they can connect to our Wi-Fi with their cell phone too, and then they can even do Wi-Fi calling from our school. So if you're around Stone and you don't have good cell service, you can be on our Wi-Fi and still make a phone call. But yeah, that won't matter. We do have a couple of users, maybe just one in the district that still has a flip phone. But we're gonna work through that. So everybody should have a better phone, but we're gonna work through this. But yeah,
Marcus, that's you, isn't it? You still have Swift.
I wish I desire one, Brandon won't.
Brandon, I got a question I want to ask. It's a little bit off subject, and I probably should know this, but after we have a student that has graduated, how long can they access their school email that they had and get whatever information they need?
officially it's 90 days. We haven't turned those off this year, but if there's an automatic setting in place for 90 days, we try to leave them. It's really going to be 90 days. But we try to leave them because with this change in Infinite Campus and Munis, once that account's disabled, it will be disabled in 30 days. We delete it in 30 days. So 90 days and then 30 days, I can recover data in that period of time, but once it's disabled, that 30-day period starts, and then their data will be lost. So you hate to let kids lose that, but we do, you know, some of those licenses cost us money. So we also can't keep them forever. So yeah, officially 90 days and then 30 days, but we haven't turned that off yet. It's just been over 90 days.
Have, have we thought about one of the things that seniors do in terms of offboarding is transferring their Google data to something else? Like, is that, we ought to think about that being part of our,
It is part of it.
Okay.
We send students an email and tell them to use, send them the website. They can choose their data, and it's that way with staff members too.
Okay.
Yeah, they can choose which data and they can move it to a personal account. The problem I have with staff members, it happens a lot. The problem is they have so much data,
Yeah.
they'd have to pay for a paid plan to move it to their other files. But yeah, we definitely do that. There's a checklist. Since we've been giving seniors their Chromebooks, we collect their Chromebooks and then we wipe their Chromebooks and remove them completely from Rockcastle County Schools organization. And this year we put a paper inside each Chromebook and give it back to them. And that paper tells them, here's what you have to do to move your data.
that's great.
So
I'm glad.
some of them have more trouble with that than others, but we do encourage that. We want them to keep their sign. The last thing I'll say is part of this new push that we're doing, teachers won't have to change their password. We won't ever make them change their password again. That's a good thing. I think they'll like that. They do still have to have a 15-character password. We don't require capital letters or lowercase letters or special characters. Just has to be 15 characters long. So that's more like a past sentence than a past phrase than a password, but they won't have to change it. But the password hashes are scanned on the dark web. So if their account is compromised, and if it gets flagged that password is compromised, then they'll have to change it then. But only in the event that it's compromised will they ever have to change it. So that's my cybersecurity update. Just know that we're working all the time it's hard to keep, we take student data seriously within the campus. If a student's unenrolled, then their parent portal account will be shut off, right? Think about foster care, lots of times kids come in and out and do different things. And so those accounts are disabled once the student's unenrolled. Munis accounts, staff accounts are disabled once they're removed from payroll at this point. And sometimes that takes a little while to happen. So it's not like they quit today and they're gone today. But that's the process. That's all. If you have any questions, ever let me know.
Thank you, Brandon. Need to approve the cybersecurity health check.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Number 5F, review and approve the $3 million CD renewal 24 months at Citizens Bank.
We would like to present the CD for renewal with Citizens Bank. They have offered a 4.25% rate to the school district and agreed to offer that to us for 24 months.
Thank you, Ms. Jenny. Anyone have any questions?
This is not a question about that, but it's related. It's related. The interest on the CD just rolls to the general fund.
It does, and it is, there is a it's allocated based on percentages of required interest-bearing accounts. So we allocate that monthly.
So it's not feasible for us to just roll that 25,000 into the back end of the CD? Or I'm just curious.
It's part of our overall fund, so
Right.
there are certain
Okay.
guidelines that we would have to look at a little bit different structure if we wanted to change how we allocated interest.
I'm just curious.
Currently,
moved to
what do
approve
we
the
do with that? Those interest dollars go to pay what now?
So we have a spreadsheet, and what it looks like is we will look at the balance, what's the cash balance of general fund. We have several grants, technology, CATS funds being one of those, and food service. So whatever the balance is for that fund, it receives a percentage of interest. And that's recorded. If we want to look at doing something different with the CD interest, that is certainly something that we can implement if there's interest.
We probably don't know enough about it to even make a suggestion. We just
if
like
you'd like-
asking you questions and putting you on the spot.
If we'd like to look at that, we can come back to that and have further discussion, certainly.
I moved to renew the CD as proposed.
All in favor? 5G is the proposed, the 2027 tax rate. I can't spit that out.
Yeah, so, in the last legislative session, they made some changes about how boards of education go about approving taxes. And so we have a different process this year. The first step in the process is what we're going to do tonight, and that's just a proposed tax rate. You do not vote on that. There's no approval process. We just propose that. And then after that, we will advertise that in the paper for 2 consecutive weeks. Then we'll have to come back and have another special call board meeting and actually approve the rate at that time. After we do approve it, then we do advertise that on our website. So a few extra steps that we have to go through this year. But our proposal is that the general fund tax levy of 43.8 cents on real property and 43.8 cents on personal property with exonerations. Our rate last year was also 43.8 cents. So that is, the proposal is to, continue with that 43.8 cent. And that, for point of reference, in 1999, our rate was 43.9. In 1999, we have been at 43.8 since 2024. So,
I have a question about that because I feel like over the years, the discussions that we've had has confused. So forever they told us to take the compensating rate, and then they, at one time they thought, you should be doing your 4% increase, and all. So, and I'm assuming based on what your proposal is that this is the best financial decision for Rockcastle County Schools, or you would not be proposing it.
absolutely. We receive these and immediately we give this over to Compass, who's that's hired as our financial advisors and work through that. So this is the proposed rate that would allow us to, have the best amount of revenue for the school district.
Does anyone have any questions? So it's my understanding that in 2 weeks, we will come back for a special call meeting. At that time, we will vote
Yes, we'll
on
take an
this
action.
proposal, and then we'll go from there.
Yep,
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Item 6 is our discussion review our superintendent's personnel action report.
Of course, it's busy hiring time. I'll give you all just a moment to look over that to see if you have any questions. All of our certified positions are filled as of today. So, that is finished. We're finished with the hiring process up to this point at all schools. So we're really happy about that and glad that we have all those positions filled. So,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Item 7 is department reports. Any of you fine folks like to speak up? No? Chris, I want to say thank you for everything that you and your staff did this summer.
You're welcome. Lots of people to thank. I thought that you would say something, so I did write some of our community members. We don't ever talk. I don't ever mention them, but like Citizens Bank, they volunteered on a Tuesday. The Mount Vernon City Hall, they volunteered. Western Water, Lumber King, Wendy's Marathon. Like those volunteers make it go so much smoother when they come in for 3 hours at the end of the thing to hand the food out. Also, our PRI staff members in our school district, they helped. The Friskies, all the Friskies came in and helped. Of course, our food service staff, there was a lot of them. They came in. Miss Tabitha and all of our staff here knows how much time she puts into it. And even Hilltop Produce, Shelley, he gets all of 40 cases of fruit every week, and it's just it's a lot of food, and I appreciate all of them. And of course, our we had some students volunteers. Our middle school football team, they volunteered on a Tuesday. Our middle school baseball team volunteered two different weeks. Our boys basketball, Mr. Thomas, he brought the boys basketball in on a Tuesday, and they helped. And also our middle and high school cheerleaders came on 2 different Tuesdays. So all of their help, it takes about 50 or 60 people a week to put it all together. So there's a lot of turning cogs in it. So I appreciate all the help of everybody. And people from central office came over, Mr. Reckert, Mr. Bustle. I don't want to leave anybody out, but, they came over, and Miss Courtney, it's a big help whenever all the hands are on deck. So I appreciate them. And it was very successful. I think, about 58,000 meals we served this summer.
Wow.
I know there were some blocks.
Yeah. So it was really successful for our community.
And I know the job itself probably seems very overwhelming, and then when you look at that number, 58,000, that looks even more overwhelming. But, you break it down, that's mouths, that's a little kindergartner, that's a middle schooler, those are kids that had food, and I get real emotional when I start talking about that, so I'm gonna hush, I'll start crying, but, it changes, that is life-changing for a lot of these families, and I see that firsthand, so, I truly am very, very grateful that you all do that. Thank
I
you
mean,
so much.
it's definitely worth it.
And I do have one question how did the CAP event go?
Mr. Russell,
Right.
event, that
It was
was,
fabulous.
Great. It was very busy, they had they were very organized, kept great. It went very well. It was, if you got up there, you waited in line, I'm sure. They got through.
Good.
Had lots of help. A lot of our students did all the tough stuff, so it was good.
Okay.
I wanted to speak real quick on behalf of Miss Casey and preschool coming up. We're excited for all the changes with pre-K for all 4-year-olds and transitioning to all-day preschool. All the hiring has been done. All the things have been ordered. I want to thank Mr. Trent and his team for moving all of the things that have been ordered for the new classrooms. That was a big job, and all the help with Miss Jenny and Miss Carrie and the work that Miss Casey's put in. And we're really excited to get that started. We've had some media coverage lately, and if you've seen that on the news channels. So we're just excited for our families and for our schools and really transitioning to full day. And our enrollment has definitely increased since May. We've had a push to increase our enrollment, so that has increased. We've had lots of screenings lately. A couple of schools have some screenings remaining, and so I'm sure it will continue to increase. And yeah, we've got teachers signed up for trainings coming up, our new teachers. Miss Casey's got all of that coordinated, and we're just excited.
I've seen Miss Kara at a funeral the other day, and she's getting ready to have the baby.
She
Today.
had it today.
Okay.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, she had it yesterday.
Well, she told me, she goes, Miss Angie, I'm only going to be out 3 weeks. And I'm like,
Take on long.
okay. She goes, I'm
If
only
you
going to
could
be out
bottle
3
her
weeks.
energy and her fast, it would be.
Yeah. We're saying September 9th. So we're
That,
gearing up.
that's another thing that is going to be so helpful to our families, and I think in the long run that we will, as a district, we will see a significant change in even the scores that we receive later on from these children that are getting that extra time with a classroom teacher with guidance, and they're little sponges at that age. They're just little sponges, and to have that positive atmosphere, I think it's one of the best things that Rockcastle County Schools has ever had the opportunity of doing. So I'm very thankful that we have been given this opportunity.
I hate to ask for numbers, but are we where we thought we would be, or kind of where we want to be on numbers, more or less?
We're getting there. We're close.
Yeah, Mount Vernon Elementary is, we would say they're full,
Basically.
they're at capacity.
We do have to save a few spots at each school for our kids that come from First Steps, or it's called Kids now. And so throughout the year, we have students who come from that program transition as a 3-year-old. So we do have to save a few spots, but we would consider Mount Vernon pretty close to full at this point. Broadhead and Roundstown are approaching.
Yeah, I think Broadhead's within 6 or 7 of being full.
Okay, good.
And then Roundstone still have some spots, but there is enough to justify the 2 teachers that are down there.
And
But
Roundstone still has another screening coming up in a few days, and she actually just sent out an email today, and they've had quite an increase in the number of appointments at that screening, and so some of the other schools are going to help with that, and so I anticipate Roundstone's number is increasing in the next few days.
Great.
That's one.
yeah, we're excited.
Wonderful. Would anyone else like to? Trent, I know you're staying busy, probably.
Yeah, we're pretty busy.
Are you nervous about that kitchen, Drew?
I got so much work to do, I don't have time to be nervous. Moving company one day, plumbing company the next, and I don't know, we'll see.
I appreciate all of
We'll wrap
you
it
all.
up.
I really do. I know you all work all summer and, day and night, night and day. I hope that when you all were able to go as the district
Yeah.
team, when you got together, I hope that you had, time together for team building and not just that, but just enjoying each other's company. So I hope that was
We had a fabulous meal.
Oh, I bet.
At
Yeah,
Ravenwood.
yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you got that opportunity. Anyone have anything? No public comment? Dr. Ballinger?
Yep, I have a few things. Rocket launch, of course, is this Friday. So if anybody's available to swing by, just to pop in, everybody will be at the high school for our professional development. We'll be serving lunch, at noonish. So if anybody wants to come by, if anybody's free, come by and have lunch, come by and serve lunch, just come by and see what's going on. It's going to be a really great day. Mr. Thomas has worked so hard to organize and to make sure that we have speakers and to get the classrooms ready and get the schedule ready. And so kudos to Mr. Thomas for everything he's done to organize that day. August 17th, we're going to have a new employee meet and greet. We've done that the last several years. That will be here, 3:30 to 4:30. So if anybody's free and wants to come by and introduce yourself to our new staff, that will be the 17th. And it'll be brief and pretty informal, but we'll just introduce ourselves and let them know that we're happy to have them. We'll have some light refreshments. We've been meeting with principals, Mr. Thomas and Mr. Bussell and I have been meeting with principals, just planning out instructionally what are their instructional goals for the year, what are their cultural goals for the year. We've asked them to create a bullseye of this is what I'm going to hone in on at my school. So we've been working and meeting with them to align that to our district goals and just make sure that that's something that we, as we meet with those principals throughout the year, that we're monitoring and helping and supporting them in their work. So we've been excited. We've had some really good conversations this week with our principals. You mentioned our district day. We spent a lot of time on that day working on our strategic plan and framework alignment. I'm going to bring this to you next month for board approval. We put the final touches, I think Savannah and I did right before we walked over. We tweaked something else out, but we've sent it out to our principals and to everyone. Just trying to work on, I think if we have a word for the year, it would be alignment. We have a lot of great things happening in the district, but just making sure that everything is succinct and people can see the relationship. So working on like our core values and how that lines up with the leader in me and the 7 habits, and then how does the 7 habits align with our portrait of a rocket. So we've stated that at Rockcastle County Schools, our core values shape who we are. The 7 habits guide what we do, and our portrait of a rocket empowers students to become rocket learners. So really working on our teachers and our staff, seeing that alignment between all of that and how that flows. We did make some tweaks to some other things, such as instead of saying parameters, we said those are our commitments. We thought that language is a little bit easier to understand for people. So we just had a lot of good discussions about this, and do we really believe what we say we believe, and are we really committed to doing this? So I talked with over new teachers today. Miss Marquita Proctor had a new teacher academy. I spoke with them today about all of this. So excited just to see, use this document to help guide not only our employees but our students as well. So we've done a lot of work on that this summer. Ravenwood was fabulous place. I think we all really enjoyed going there. It was just far enough out of town that it felt like we were going somewhere, but we really weren't. Traveling outside of Rockcastle County, and again, they did such a nice job of catering to us, and we had fabulous breakfast, fabulous lunch, and they were just really gracious hosts. So I hope that we're able to go back there next year. I thought that was a really nice little place for us. So we appreciate the McGuire family for all that they did for us. Bid update on the baseball softball field. Those initial bids came in. There was a little bit of confusion, and we thought that perhaps some of the items may have been bid twice in different packages. So we put out some clarification out to the contractors. this Thursday, we're coming back together with them to get some updated numbers. So after that, once we go through that process, then we'll set up a special call board meeting. I hope we're able to do that same special call board meeting with the tax rate so we are not having multiples this month. But we'll have to coordinate with them on timeline to see how all of that plays out. Now, last Friday, we moved back into our home across the street. I can say that I'm very glad to be back into our little spot over there. Matt asked earlier, like, what's the plan for the rock building? I think the plan for the rock building right now is just, it's on hold until we can get the middle school finished, we can get through baseball and softball, and then we'll make some determinations about what we want to do. Trent and Mr. Bussell might not want us to add anything else to their plate right now. They're a little, they've got a lot going on, and it's just a lot to keep up with. The two of them monitoring everything. But we have had an increased use in that building. I know Miss Kayla, she's got it booked.
I do.
She's got it booked out, the next several weeks. Our staff is using it, our teachers are using it, our students, Mr. Brandon is definitely using it, so it is being utilized. But as far as a long-range plan, we've got to work to develop exactly what that's gonna look like, but I think we need to get through these other projects before we can tackle that completely. One last thing, tomorrow we have our leadership team meeting. We've been in discussion all summer long with our principals about strategic use of technology in our classrooms and across the district. If you recall, coming out of COVID, we were forced to go to Chromebooks. That was the only way that we could educate students during COVID. Now we're seeing nationally a shift back away from more direct instruction from the teacher, more utilization of paper and pencil. We've been having those conversations with our principals, and we're still working with them. We're going to have some more discussions tomorrow, but we do plan to put some limits on some technology usage this year, especially with our earliest learners, our kindergarten through second grade, just so that we're focusing on those foundational skills with them. Our teachers already do a great job, and I do not mean to give the impression that it's out of control Chromebook use all day long, because it's not at all in our schools. The legislature coming up in the next session, they're going to tackle this, and it will be a law when they come out. We just want to be proactive and get in front of this so that we're not making changes mid-year. So we're going to continue working with principals over the next little bit and get some more input from teachers, but you can look to see us coming out with a statement, before school starts, of maybe doing some limits on some things. So, but
When are our scheduled open houses?
Miss Savannah, do you have those that you could?
Yep, I will go down the list. So those start next Tuesday on the 18th. Mount Vernon, they separate theirs into two separate nights. So they'll do kindergarten through second grade on the 18th from 4 to 7. The middle school also separates theirs out, so they have just their sixth grade students coming on Tuesday from 3 to 6. On Wednesday the 19th, freshman orientation is during the day that day, and then it links into their parent palooza that evening. The middle school has their 7th and 8th grade students that night, same time frame as before, 3 to 6. Then Thursday is Broadhead's, Mount Vernon's. Mount Vernon will be preschool students 3rd through 5th, and then Roundstone is Thursday as well. So those are all between Tuesday and Thursday next week.
We'll also put something out on social media just so everybody can see that in one document.
Yes.
But we can email those dates to you as well, so you have them in case you want to pop in to any of them. I think that's all that I have, other than we're excited to see kids in classrooms.
And
excited
rocket
to see-
launch will start at what time?
It starts at 8 in the morning. Yes. So, and it's 8 to 3. Mr. Ruffert will be the highlight of the day, I'm sure, with his game show skills. So if you want to come, just have some fun, come at the end of the day.
How much?
You might get a cupcake, you might get a gift card.
Test kit.
What have you
We have
done?
we have
That's a
a
big
few
no.
of those.
Giving away the prizes. Kind of an inside joke.
Oh, we have But again, just real excited. I know it's going to be a great year. several new employees. I enjoyed talking to our new teachers today, and they're excited to be here, and we're excited to have them.
Matt, do you have anything?
I don't think I have anything.
Okay.
I don't either. I'm good.
Miss Anna?
I'm good. Just excited for the school year to start and let's get going.
Once again, I want to thank all of you all for all your hard work all summer long. I hope that maybe you got a little bit of rest this summer, even if it was for a few days. I have nothing, so I'll make a motion to adjourn. Lisa, thank you for joining us and being with us. I hope you're feeling better. And get back here soon, okay? Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you all. You all have a good night.
We're gonna have to 2:57.